to influence others around the world to hold Israel to account for its genocide and the ongoing siege of Gaza needs to end.
But the Egyptians are doing really, really well. They could be really nice, really more friendly. The authorities are just madly in love with but this isn't about Egypt. For us, this is just a way of getting to our border. It could be any other country, but it was Egypt. We are disappointed that they didn't get there. We have come home hugely energized, totally transformed, and we're not going to stop. And we're gathering people as we go. You know, our message to Simon Harris and Dino Martin is, you better hide yourselves in Leicester House, because we're going to make sure that they do the right thing and abide by the laws of this country and international law.
Can you tell us how many people from Ireland were on the march overall, and how many have returned in this tranche?
That's difficult to know, but we know there's well over 50 people who travelled from Ireland, and we're still aware there's some colleagues out there and comrades out there who are yet to return home, so we're very mindful of that, just due to logistics and planes and so forth.
And then on the status of everyone's passports and phones?
As far as we're aware, all of them have been returned, but as I say, as my comrade said, it's not about the treatment of people who were in Egypt, it's about the treatment of people in Gaza. While we were there, it's about the treatment of people of Palestine that needs to be addressed, and that's why we're here, and that's why we continue. So as far as we're concerned, the next step's Brussels.
We've been caught up in the microphone, if that's okay, yeah? Independent Ireland have branded your mission as a publicity stunt instead of you put yourself and others in danger by going where you did. What was your response to that? He also said that maybe you should have been in the door doing work rather than, in his words, abroad.
First of all, this is not my stunt at all. There's 4,000 people that were participating. I was actually a late participant in joining. This is probably the biggest global coordinated march in Palestine that we have seen. And even though we didn't reach Rafah, we did succeed in highlighting what's happening. Just yesterday, 38 people were killed while queuing for aid, and this has become a pattern now with 300 people in the last 3 weeks. Look, I left on Thursday. I was in the Dáil on Thursday morning. I'm back today, back for the Dáil today. I think my constituents, and most people in this country, want politicians to do everything they can to stop this genocide. This is the contribution that I felt that I could make in supporting this people-powered genocide.
Just like to be home.
Yeah, like Geraldine was saying, we've had tremendous support from the Egyptian people. It's clear that the Egyptian people are very, very supportive of Palestine. Obviously, we're disappointed with the stance that the Egyptian state took. I'm fine. All the Irish people are fine. There are still some people, non-Irish people, who are detained out there, so we're hopeful that they're released as soon as possible, and we have to be kind of mindful of the fact that they're potentially still in detention, and there's other Irish people who want to come home, in terms of the comments we make about Egypt. But in any case, look, our focus isn't on ourselves, and any inconveniences that we suffer are like hidden insignificant.
Did you get your phone back?
What? No, so myself. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Ready to go again.
Paul.
Is there plans in place to go again?
So, I mean, we've definitely recognised that this phase of the global march to Gaza is finished. We accept that we will not be reaching Rafah. Those who remain there will not be reaching Rafah. It's a clear signal to the Egyptian government in that to say, look, we accept that this isn't going to happen to Rafah at this stage. But certainly what we're talking about, the idea of the next phase would be, as we mentioned, there's a meeting in Brussels next week when foreign affairs ministers are meeting with the Israeli Minister for Foreign Affairs. We think that's horrendous in the context of the genocide that's been going on for 20 months. It's horrendous that Ursula von der Leyen is still talking about Israel's right to defend itself and blaming others for instability in the Middle East, considering Israel's ongoing genocide and then starting a war effectively with Iran. So that's our next focal point. But the main thing is to encourage ordinary people to do whatever they're able to do in their local groups, joining protests, phoning, writing to opposition. Whatever people can do in should do to put their energy and money to assist themselves.
Paul, can I ask you just about the Taoiseach's response to the Irish people who were detained, including yourself? Can you tell me about that phone call you had with him and your overall judgment on how he's reacted to this?
Yeah, I mean, again, to be honest, my main, like, so he rang me on Saturday morning when I finally had an Egyptian phone and expressed well wishes. I understand he did issue a statement later on that day, which was welcome. I mean, I guess from our perspective, it would have been preferable if that statement had come when people were still in detention. But, like, the main thing I'm asking Simon Harris to do, and I think we're asking Simon Harris to do, is not to do more for us. It's to match his strong words of criticism of Israel with actions, to fully implement the Occupied Territories Bill, to stop the overflights of weapons going through our airspace, and to stop our central bank authorising the sale of Israeli bonds in the European Union.
But does it not speak to his attitude to the whole thing that he didn't come out strongly in the initial aftermath of Irish citizens being detained?
I think that's a question.
So, thank you.
Yes, in a sense. Now the main story in the Middle East, actually, it's hard to follow stuff when we've been here, especially when you're on your phone. You haven't been able to pay attention. It's clear that things are getting worse, things are escalating, and obviously there's the threat of an all-out regional war. And in that context, the danger of the forced starvation faced by the people of Gaza following out of the headlines. Kind of part of what our attempted march was about. But on the other hand, I would say these are not unrelated. These are the actions of the terrorist state. And the terrorist state that would not do what it is doing without the support of the US and the European Union and the powers within the European Union. So for me, it's like underlying the need for massive war, and the whole world is threatened by this, but also against imperialism and support of Palestinian people. I think those things are all linked. Well, certainly before I left, this is the main thing. I mean, basically, we're announcing that the plan of the government explicitly to that's what they're planning for. What the rent that is the plan. The plan is by increasing rents, attracting people, and eventually, don't worry, rents will come down. There's no evidence of that, and in fact, it really seems to be the case that this is very clearly policy being made in the interest of big corporate landlords, increasing profits that are already healthy. It's not that they're not making profits, let's be clear about that, and putting renters, putting young people and workers last.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Drew. Thank you very much.